But you know all of them. All the one where they tell you, say, make one call, they call the names of fighters. Now sellouts. Now shower them. Now political prostitutes. 2 years ago, they stand for you. Today, they speak on behalf of the enemy. So the fact that you listen for them, you get a problem. The fact that you go listen for them and then you can't complain for me, you get a problem. You get a problem. Why you want to go listen for a person who want to make you remain under occupation? Why you want to go listen for a person who don't take money for the occupier and you see talk don't change and then you can't complain for me? You get a problem. If you don't make up your mind, the moment you cross the line, you start to talk the talk of the enemy across you out. As you need to listen for these people because they intoxicate my mind. I need to listen for waiting all these sellouts. These people don't surrender, they don't capitulate, they don't go surrender themselves to the Republic. I don't listen to them. Why should I listen to them? You know, if you listen on the devil, you know, if you listen to the devil, and you want to make God help you. Any movement where you don't talk now that the language of the occupier, cut them out. It be so easy for take money for La République du Cameroon and become a Ambazonia. What happens after that? What's it go happen after that? When I don't even think about these things then. If after I can't stand for you for years and years and years, ask you for do all these things and for make all these sacrifices, and one day you see me at the talking about La République du Cameroon.
20th February 2024. I come this afternoon. A special warning to the Okada boys who inside Batiboye, because it has come to my notice. Say the terrorist La République du Cameroon, they were organized una. So that Muna go carry the corpse of our Supreme General, General F, and put out inside Amoka. But if some man try him, Muna stay away. If some man try him, we go touch that corpse down. We go bound Okada for inside Batiboye. No man no go work, no movement for Okada no go work for inside Batiboye. If we not try him, I talk special for Okada people them. Muna level me the La République people them go carry as they become drop out. Because I did look una.
My country people then, many of una don't hear about the Bakassi Peninsula, where it been a case or a struggle between the Cameroon government and the Nigerian government. But what we wanna not understand, now say it gets a wider implication for these Anglophones, their claim to so-called sovereignty. And I go explain it for una today.
With today's agreement on Bakassi Peninsula, a comprehensive resolution of the dispute is within our grasp. I am confident that the two parties will continue to implement their agreements in a cooperative and constructive manner. The momentum achieved must be sustained. So I have urged the international community to give its full support to Nigeria and Cameroon's efforts to implement today's agreement on the ground as soon as possible.
The agreement signed today, which marks a climax in the series of agreements we have concluded and implemented, is a clear demonstration that where there exists goodwill and equal commitment to peaceful resolution between two parties to a dispute, a happy and equitable solution can always be found.
En signant le présent accord, nous nous sommes dotés d'un instrument efficace de mise en œuvre de l'arrêt de la Cour portant règlement définitif de notre différent frontalier.
On the 10th of October 2022, after 8 years of legal procedures, the International Court of Justice be decide and make a ruling for talk say na Cameroon get sovereignty over the Bakassi Peninsula. What we wanna get for understand say Bakassi is then under Indian division when a part of the former British Southern Cameroon. This point be very important. Now remember that.
When states disagree on where their border is, when states contest islands or a maritime zone, when one state considers that another has violated a treaty or other rule of international law, and when the UN or one of its agencies needs an opinion on a legal issue, they can turn to the International Court of Justice. Like the General Assembly and the Security Council, the Court is what's known as a principal organ of the United Nations, and is the only one not to have its seat in New York. The ICJ is the principal judicial organ of the UN and the world's highest international court. The court has existed since 1946. Its two official languages are English and French. Its founding document, the Statute, is an integral part of the Charter of the United Nations.
Veuillez vous asseoir.
All UN member states, therefore, automatically recognize the existence of the court and can call on its services.
So for the document where the International Court of Justice will make the decision, they will write them in black and white. They say, in Bakassi, the ICJ decides that the boundary is delimited by the Anglo-German Agreement of 11th of March 1913, and that the sovereignty over the Bakassi Peninsula lies with Cameroon. So, as we see, the whole fight between Nigeria and Cameroon for Bakassi Peninsula, it will be now to determine who gets sovereign power over the territory. And the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, it don't decide. And remember, say, the ICJ now one of the main organs of the United Nations. And this one, it be by extension, now the United Nations, it decide, say, now Cameroon government for Yaoundé, it own the sovereign power over the former British Southern Cameroons. And they base their argument 11th of March 1913. This one be very important because this agreement it be between the British and the Germans in 1913. At that time, no African person no be there for the time where they will decide, time where they will make this decision for divide that territory amongst themselves. This one, the agreement between the colonizers, the British and the French. And now because say, even for the African Union Charter and the United Nations Charter, the African states, they understand and they accept and they sign them as a treaty, say they go respect their borders at the time of independence. And now the United Nations states they guarantee, when say, now Cameroon owns sovereignty over the former British Southern Cameroons because at the time of independence, that territory belonged to Cameroon. So, for when we not understand, as per international law, the former French Cameroon began independence on the 1st of January 1960. And on the 1st of October 1961, that former French Cameroon, where it become the Republic of Cameroon, it ceased to exist. And it get another sovereignty where it include the former British Southern Cameroon. So that territory be one as per international law. Now, why that way I don't show when I documents them. For example, and say by the time when the British the one leave in 1961, they be hand over the sovereignty of that territory to President Amadou Ahidjo. So that former La République du Cameroon it no exist anymore. There was a new country created on the 1st of October 1961 when one country, when a former French Cameroon and former Southern Cameroons combined, they form one sovereignty. And now, by the way, that block, that territory, it get now only one seat at the United Nations. And I go explain more for some of it will make them a little bit difficult for una to understand because we not understand the implications there for international law. Like I talk the British, they will sign exchange of notes with President Amadou Ahidjo for hand over that territory to Cameroon, hand over the sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons to Yaoundé. That territory never ever exercised its sovereignty even for 1 second. It never ever. So now why the way the people, the way they call themselves restorationists, they are just making noise. It no go ever work. And I go explain for you the wider implications them on the international scene and also on international law.
So this one, nothing way all una don't forget sense. So one time my country people and all the other soldiers say, so God bless you. We'll continue to listen to this video.
Another point we get for understand and say, the treaty or the agreement between the Germans and the British for 1913 now ye determine the sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons today. Because that boundary between the former Southern Cameroon, because at that time for 1913, that territory being a German Cameroon. While where the other side across being a Nigeria, it been a British colonized territory. So they will get an agreement between the British and the German for Europe. It never get nothing to do with no African person because as I don't explain for now before, sovereignty means say the power and authority, the supreme power and authority where a people they get them for govern themselves. And as a colonized people, they don't seize away that supreme power and authority. A foreign entity, the British, the Europeans, and the Germans or the French, they don't seize that authority where our forefathers and were traditional rulers they get them for govern themselves. They seize them with the power of the gun. Now, why that way they will get the sovereignty over that territory where it go now for be transferred to the League of Nations mandate and then later on transferred to the United Nations trusteeship agreement and then later on now it be transferred to self-governance where now West Cameroon it become an integral part of the Republic of Cameroon where we get them today. Now one territory.
On the 1st of October, the date set by the United Nations for the British Southern Cameroon to achieve independence. What happened on that date was the British simply invited that foreign country to Ambazonia and they, in their own words, transferred sovereignty to that foreign country.
Anything will be happen before the 1st of October 1961, it no really matter from the 1st of October 1961, what way you get for understand, by international law, and when I'm here to talk, this one now the United Nations in the talk, and I will bring in more information. What way matter by international law, now say that territory, it be recognized legally by the United Nations, by all the members of the Security Council, the permanent ones and all the other members of the United Nations. They recognize that territory as part of one and indivisible Cameroon. And they understand the wider implications. Say, if you go temper with anything to do with Resolution 1608, you go temper with separating Cameroon, then by that action, you don't already separate Nigeria. Because Resolution 1608, it get to do now with the former British Southern Cameroons and British Northern Cameroon, where it is an integral part of Nigeria today.
We thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
So, when I get to understand, say now Cameroon government, President Paul Biya government, it be take Nigeria, go sue them for the International Court of Justice for settle the case for Bakassi Peninsula. And during that case, the Nigerian government will be submit their own argument and say the democratic way for decide the sovereignty for Bakassi Peninsula now for let the people they decide through a referendum. Nigerian government be talk so because they be understand say about 90% of the people the way they live on the island now Nigerian citizens the way they no go want for be Cameroonians. But the International Court of Justice it be reject this idea of referendum. Make I digress small. The United Nations, it be formed of some main organs them. They get 6 main organs we make up the United Nations. You get the General Assembly, when at the main organ of the UN, it be composed of all the representatives from all the member states them. Each member, it get 1 vote. Then you get the Security Council, where it be made up of 15 members. 5 members of the Security Council, they've been permanent members. You get Britain, France, United States of America, Russia, and China. And then you get the Economic and Social Council. Then you get the Trusteeship Council. The Trusteeship Council, it will be established for provide the supervision for the 11 trust territories. Them, for example, the British Southern Cameroons or the British Cameroons, where it will be a trusteeship agreement with the United Kingdom. So they will fall under the Trusteeship Council. That council, it will be abolished for 1994 after all the 11 trust territories. Them, they will don't gain self-governance or independence. Now, you also get the International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice, now the principal judicial organ of the United Nations, now the highest court in the world. This court, it not try individuals them. It try now states. For example, when country, it get conflict with another country, for example, it no respect international treaty or international law, one country, if it take another country to the International Court of Justice. So now only member states of the United Nations, they fit start a case or proceeding with another country for United Nations. So now what that way the International Court of Justice it be. And no say some when they sometimes when they confuse the International Criminal Court with the International Court of Justice. The ICC it be different. ICC if it try individuals like Ayabacho, Sako, Ekome, Charles Taylor, or any other person for war crime. That one when they talk now about the ICC, the International Criminal Court. But this one at the International Court of Justice, now an international court where it be now a part of the United Nations and they try cases them not only between states, between country to country. They need to try individuals them. So you also get now one of the most powerful organ of the United Nations as well, now the United Nations Secretariat. Now for day now way you get the United Nations Secretary General. Now they lead the UN Secretariat. And now they carry out the day-to-day work of the United Nations. So now the 6 main organs where they make up the United Nations. Now them this.
Lesson number 1. Lesson number 1. This particular video where country people do am. Now God sending me do the video. When I always say, oh, I want to, oh, country people. Lesson number 1, my country people talk about it. Listen, whether or not you accept, my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. He's an enemy that is strong.
So the Green Tree Agreement. If una go for una Google, una just type in Green Tree Agreement Nigeria Cameroon, and it will give you all the information where you need them for understand what will be happening. So following intense diplomatic offensive and the good offices of the United Nations Secretary General, Cameroon was able to secure the Green Tree Agreement with Nigeria on the 12th of June 2006. This agreement was brokered by the United Nations Secretary General Kofi Annan, and it was witnessed by the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the United States of America. Where you get for understand and say Britain, France, and the USA now all permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Now only 5 permanent members they be. The other 2 now Russia and China. So they tell when I say 4 of the most powerful countries in the world, America, Britain, France, Germany, now them be witness the signature, this international treaty, this international agreement. Now international treaty this way Cameroon is signing with Nigeria, deciding on the sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons. And it will be witnessed by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. Now he signed on that document. Other witnesses then to where they sign. Now the United Kingdom, France, Germany, and the USA. So these people then, all these powerful countries then, when them literally hold the United Nations, they don't decide them unequivocally. Say the sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons lies with Cameroon, Yaoundé, President Paul Biya. Now he signed on that document on behalf of the whole of that territory. And they don't demarcate the border now from the Atlantic coast all the way to Lake Chad, the borders between Cameroon and Nigeria. It be set in stone. They don't lay foundation stones them for demarcate that border. And the sovereignty of that territory belongs to Cameroon. Cameroon is one and indivisible. Now wait, this way the United Nations they talk. Nobody me they talk. The agreement it be signed and it be held at the United Nations Secretariat.
So this one, nothing way all una get forget sense. So one time my country people and all the other souls gonna say, "So God bless you." We'll continue to listen to this video.
Under the Green Tree Agreement, the Nigerian military began to withdraw out of Bakassi Peninsula within 90 days, and a transitional period of 2 years will be given for Nigerian administration and administrative authorities then for commot so that they could be replaced by Cameroonian administration. So after the case for International Court of Justice it will go through and Cameroon a win, what will be the reaction inside Nigeria? Some people them inside Nigeria, they will call the government of Nigeria for go to war over the matter. This school of thought, they will argue, say this, so it will be against the national interest of Nigerians in terms of national security and national economic interest for accept the decision from the International Court of Justice. But some other Nigerians, they will caution against war. According to the Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo, the Green Tree Agreement will be a great achievement in conflict prevention. President Obasanjo be talk say, it could serve or it should represent a model for the resolution of similar conflicts in Africa and the world at large. Moreover, President Olusegun Obasanjo will play a leading role in conflict resolution amongst other African states. So it tell the world, say the way Cameroon and Nigeria they handle the Bakassi case, it should be an example for the whole world for copy the example. Okay, make just one small digression, make a digress small. So they call them say the Green Tree Agreement because now the actual location was where they be done down for signed the agreement. It no means say na some tree where it be green. No, now one word, green tree. So as we don't already discuss them, now for 2002, where the International Court of Justice, it be passed that judgment, it be make the ruling, say the sovereignty of Bakassi Peninsula and the whole of the former British Southern Cameroons, it belongs to Cameroon. But it will take up to 4 years because now for 2006, where President Obasanjo and President Paul Biya, they actually done down for sign the Green Tree Agreement. Why it will take them that long? When I get to understand, say as I don't already talk before, some people them inside Nigeria, they be talk say they so make Nigeria a go to war for Bakassi Peninsula. So it will be important and it will be necessary for Nigerian government for take that judgment and that ruling from the International Court of Justice, go back for Nigeria, go discuss them with the political leaders them and make sure they make all man a fall behind. They begin to lobby people them for put sense for their head, for make them understand the importance of signing that international treaty with Cameroon and the United Nations as the guarantor for make sure say Nigeria go abide by that international treaty. So now basically why that way it will take 4 years for Nigerian president and the people them for go sit down discuss them with the own people them back home in Nigeria so that make no person in no vex time where they hand over the territory to Cameroon so that make no conflict, it no come out of that. So the Nigerian president it begin to put sense for your own people their head. Even the people the way they be talk to me they go to war. You get to understand say every member state of the United Nations, it don't sign the United Nations Charter. And part of the charter, like I don't already explain them, the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, now one of the main bodies of the United Nations. So when you sign the charters of the United Nations, you don't already automatically sign and say, if another member state of the United Nations it bring a case against you, you go must can answer the case. And you don't already sign say whatever decision where the International Court of Justice it pass them, whatever decision they make them, you go abide by the decision of the International Court of Justice. Now wait that way you sign them when you sign the Charter of the United Nations. So President Obasanjo be need for convince the people then say, listen, by the virtue say we being a member state for United Nations, we don't already agree say any decision where that court it take them, it would be legally binding on us. If we decide now, say we no go accept the ruling of the International Court of Justice, it means that we don't declare war against the United Nations. This time now, not been a war against Cameroon, but now war against the United Nations. Now, do you want to go to war against the whole world? It could be Nigeria versus the world. Now, the sanctions, the way they go place them on Nigeria, it go target the top leaders in Nigeria and it go target their military. They go make sure say any person will sell them weapons, it go commit now an international, it go break international law. So now no country no go sell una weapons, no country no go support una military, no country no go do business with una. Una no go fit sell una oil, una no go fit do international trade, and as a result of that, how una go fund the war if una want go to war with Cameroon. On the other hand, all the other countries them around the world, they go support Cameroon in war against you because they understand that Cameroon they get the legitimacy, they get the right for fight the war because they don't take the court, they don't take the case, they go for court and court it don't decide them, and then after the court don't decide, and then una deny una for abide by the laws and the rules where una don't already sign them. So it go mean now say Nigeria go stand alone for fight against the whole world. You think so una go fit win that kind of war? If una go for that kind war, it mean now say Cameroon no go end for Bakassi. Cameroon go fight that war can reach for Abuja. Because now what the way the world go want now regime change inside Nigeria. The world go want make Cameroon military it can't enter right inside Abuja, right inside the seat of government inside Nigeria. It remove the president, topple the government because that government way they don't sign international laws. And then they know they abide by the international treaties the way they sign them. So that kind of government, the whole world, it will support Cameroon for topple that regime. And it will give them all the support, all the military equipment, the training, and everything where they need them for fight that war and for win them. But not just for win, for take Bakassi Peninsula. They go win the war for the way where they go topple the regime in Abuja. For the central government, the regime in power. And they go make them for the way where once Cameroon don't win the war, Nigeria go pay reparations. Because there is a cost to war. Human beings, they go lost their lives. Properties, they go be destroyed. Who will pay for all of those things then? At the end of the war, when Nigeria lose and Nigeria go lose, then Nigeria will be forced for pay Cameroon back for the destruction and the cost of funding that war. Nigeria will pay reparations. So now, for the next maybe 50 to 60 years or whatever, all the oil revenues, the way Nigeria go sell oil abroad, a percentage of that oil and all their external trade and all their international export, a percentage of that money will go now to Cameroon government. So when you use all of these things, now all these kind of arguments, where Obasanjo be taken back to Nigeria, go talk to your own people, now for them now they see sense, they understand that it be important for respect international law. Especially when where you don't already sign the treaties, you don't already sign for certify and for ratify the United Nations Charter, where it means now that the United Nations and their laws, it govern Wuna also inside Nigeria.
Kunkumasa or the kind of way it work with the Cameroon government. It don't confirm for this video. That's what my control have told people. I'll play the video Muna. Wait. Very important. Let's start them back from the beginning. Muna here again.
So for conclude, the United Nations it don't decide in an international treaty signed by the Secretary General Kofi Annan and President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Paul Biya of Cameroon, say the United Nations it recognize say the sovereignty of the Republic of Cameroon. It include the former British Southern Cameroons. So for those of una where una be talk about so-called Union Treaty, where una be talk today so Cameroon not get sovereignty over the British Southern Cameroons, can explain for we now how it be possible, said the United Nations it recognize, said Cameroon government it gets sovereignty over the former British Southern Cameroons. British, they be there for day. The Germans, they be there for day. The French, the Americans, they be witness all of this. The case, it be take 8 years to a decision. And then after the decision be made, they still get political wrangling. It be take another 4 years before the Green Tree Agreement it be signed by President Biya and President Obasanjo of Nigeria. So these are the facts. I dey bring una historical documents and historical facts. I no dey make up lies. I don't show una the pictures them. So the International Court of Justice, it be tell Nigeria say they get for quickly and unconditionally withdraw all the administration, police, and the military out of Bakassi Peninsula because the sovereignty of that Bakassi Peninsula and the whole of the former British Southern Cameroons at large, the sovereignty of that territory, it be held by the Cameroon government seated in Yaoundé. These are the facts.
Lesson number one. Lesson number one. This particular video where country people do am. Now God sending me do the video. When I not always say all thing I want to country people. Lesson number one, my country people talk about it. Listen, whether or not you accept my country people is a force to reckon with. Me I agree. He's an enemy that is strong.